Welcome to this live cast on our future economies. Capitalism, despite the tremendous increase in worldwide welfare through its innovative power and freedom, has at the same time a number of negative consequences. A transition is necessary to overcome ecological destruction, decrease in quality of life, and growing inequality. Given geopolitical developments, Europe has an important role to play in this transition. In the livecasts, we will start an open dialogue and discuss this transition with internationally renowned economists from all over the world. Questions will pass by, such as: each week, we will discuss these matters with 2 economists, resulting in 10 online dialogues in 10 weeks, where we will share viewpoints and collect ideas on how capitalism's innovative and creative powers can go hand in hand with fostering an equal and just society. A different subject every week. Together we can build a basis for economies that are beneficial to all of us. You can participate by putting your questions and remarks in the chat. So, let's talk.
Mr. Felber, thank you for being here tonight with us. In this series, we're trying to reimagine capitalism, and a major theme within your books is the idea that within our current economic model, money has become a goal in itself instead of a means to an end. Now, I'd like to see how your ideas tie in with Mrs. Zingales, so perhaps we'll do that during the discussion. But for now, I'm trying to set the scene and how you view, what your views are on this. So first off, let me ask you, what led you to the conclusion that money has become a goal in itself instead of a means to an end?
Yeah, I also want to thank for the invitation and for the opportunity to have an inspiring discussion with Mr. Zingales. Well, the answer on your first question is quite simple. We used to measure success in the economy with financial indicators. GDP, financial profit of companies, or the return on investment, the financial return on investment. These are monetary indicators. And with them, we measure success in the economy, first and foremost. And success is measured always and everywhere, not only in the economy, according to the goals and their achievement. Yes. And that's already the system error, because in the true economy, defined for the first time by Aristotle, who was already mentioned, he said that the goal of an economy is not to make money or to increase capital, but the goal of the original oikonomia was the well-being of the members of the household, was the common good. And accordingly, success would have been to measured with some qualitative common good well-being indicators. And he also said when the means of money or capital turned into the goal, then this wouldn't be economy anymore. It would turn the economy into its opposite, which he defined as capitalism. The ancient Greek word was chrematistike, the art of making money and to enrich oneself. But today, the term we use is capitalism, and that's an extremely enlightening legacy of Aristotle, that capitalism and economy are opposites.
Yeah. So how did we end up here? How did we end up in this situation?
Well, actually, Aristotle was the thought leader until the mid of the 19th century, because all through the time, to all philosophers, and philosophy included economics for thousands of years. Adam Smith, for an example, he was not an economist by his formation. He was a philosopher. He was even a moral philosopher. And the political economy in his times was one part of the moral philosophy. And it was always clear to all of them that the overarching goal of economic activities should be the common good. And this was for which economic actors should strive. And only in the second half of the 19th century, there was a divergent of neoclassical economics, which wanted to throw out everything that had to do with politics. So no political economy anymore, pure economics from now on, and everything that had to do with ethics and with qualitative values, because they wanted to become scientists as precise and sharp as physicists. And that's why they focused exclusively on financial indicators and values. And that was the fundament on which later we created GDP to measure the success of national economies, that we stared at the financial profit of companies first and foremost, instead of just being a condition for the survival of the company, and the return on investment of every financial return of investment of every investment, instead of looking first and foremost on the impact of that investment from the environment, the global climate, the social cohesion, distribution, gender relations, and our real values. Actually, neoclassical economics crowded out our real values from human dignity to the common good, whereas focusing just on the means and turning by that the original idea of an economy, of a true economy, into its opposite, which Aristotle defined as capitalism. Of course, in capitalism, it's first and foremost about making money or increasing capital. But we should be aware that that is the opposite of an original and also a sound and holistic economy.
That's very clear. Thank you. So you propose that our current economic model should integrate values that are central to human relations, such as empathy, trust, recognition, respect, etc., in order to create a more human economy. How can we put these ethical values into practice, into a new economic model?
Well, changing the whole paradigm step by step, rethinking the economy as a whole, as an exercise to increase the common good. That's already in many democratic constitutions. The Bavarian constitution says the whole economic activity serves the common good. Then we have to rethink companies. Textbooks of economic science today teach that the theory of the enterprise is that enterprises are organizations that increase the financial profit, just as Milton Friedman still today. Take, for instance, the textbook of Robert Pindick and Daniel Rubinfeld. They define the company as a profit maximizing organization. We have to rethink it and reteach it. And then, of course, we have to re-educate managers. Managers should not be maximizers or optimizers of financial indicators first and foremost. They should be philosophers and ethicists and ecologists, and equally on their dashboards have ecological indicators and social indicators. And last but not least, their reporting and accounting duties should not exclusively focus on financial indicators, but their reporting and accounting duties should equally comprise non-financial indicators, which are all these ethical indicators, from human rights to gender, to democracy, to climate stability or biodiversity. All these has to be included in the idea of the economy, of the company, of management, and last but not least, sorry to have forgotten this, the image of man. The image of man of neoclassical science only was born in the beginning of the 20th century. That's extremely important to know that Homo economicus in this term was for the first time mentioned by Wilfredo Pareto in 1902. So it's an extremely young phenomenon. It's a phantasma. It has nothing to do with the original oikonomia, and it has nothing to do with reality. So every and each aspect of the Homo economicus has been falsified by interdisciplinary sciences. And that's why changing the image of humans that economists spread, reconsidering humans as social beings, as cooperative, as generous, as empathic, and as willing to share, is one of these conditions to bring these fundamental values that are already in the constitutions, but they are not in the economic textbooks. And only when they are migrate from constitutions to economic textbooks, including the image of man that economists preach and propagate, then we will also be able to change the practical behavior in the real economy.
Yes, thank you. A lot of ideas to unpack during the discussion part tonight. Looking forward to that. But just sticking to this economic model based on honesty, trust, recognition, respect, empathy, these values, you contrast these with values such as competition, self-interest, and profiteering, for example. Are these two categories, are they exclusive? Are they mutually exclusive?
I would say so. And the point of departure is that we, at the moment, to design the economy, another observation, the economy is human-made. So it's not a natural phenomenon. Just the ecological boundaries are a natural limit to economic practice. But the economy is man-made. Markets are designed by humans. And as a logical consequence, markets, in our view, should have to be designed according to the democratically defined fundamental values. If you look at our constitutions, there are these fundamental values already defined and enshrined in these constitutions. Human dignity, solidarity, justice, sustainability, democracy, transparency. These are democratic fundamental values according to which markets should be designed, companies should be designed, and also the ethical image of man should be taught at universities and business schools. And if you take these other values that you mentioned, which are included implicitly in economic textbooks, which is egoism, which is competition orientation, which is pursuit of financial goals first and foremost, materialism and growth, you will not find any of these values that are included in economic science in any democratic constitution. And I would say they contradict each other, not completely. As soon as we put the democratic values first as real values and use financial values, for instance, just as means, then the full picture is sound and right. But we should never consider capital or money as ends in and of themselves, because then we pervert the economy into capitalism, and then we will cause all these collateral damages that you mentioned in the introduction.
Yes. Well, I'm also asking that because when you think about the image of men, I must say that man is, of course, a cooperative being, but also a being which is in competition with another human, right? Competition, you could say, is also part of human nature. So how should that have a part in the new economic model that you sketch?
Well, competition is only part of human nature insofar as our genes allow us all options. They give us the liberty if we prefer to love each other or to kill each other. They give us this permission, but then we have to decide ethically, always and everywhere. And our genes give us the liberty to cooperate or to compete, actually to counterpete in the meaning of acting one against each other. And we have to decide ethically in the same way as we decide ethically if we prefer to love or to hate, to let live or to kill, if we rather should cooperate or counterpete against each other. So it's an ethical decision. So it's a question of the design of the game rules of the economy. And now the question is, why would we prefer competition or counterpetition over cooperation? And the myth with which economists are arguing that competition is a good thing, first of all, they say it's natural, but I just try to dismiss that myth, number one. And the second myth with which economists try to argue competition over cooperation is that they say it is motivating humans more strongly than cooperation. And this is falsified as well. It's just not true. There is psychological research about the motivational force of cooperation and competition compared. And the result is both motivate humans. So competition does motivate humans, but cooperation motivates humans more strongly. And the reason why is because both motivate humans differently. Whereas cooperation motivates humans by flourishing relationships, that's social psychology and psychological science. I'm a psychologist, by the way. Whereas competition motivates humans first and foremost by fear. So I don't see any reason why we should incentivize companies to act against one another. In an economy for the common good, we have free enterprise in the meaning of enhancing economic initiative. We enhance every person or collective to start a company, but then we do not enhance them to act against others, but to try to cooperate with others. in capitalism, that's nonsensical. This doesn't make sense at all. In an economy for the common good, which is an ethical market economy, it makes all sense.
Yes. Thank you, Magister Felber. For now, looking forward to unpack these ideas during the discussion part. Let's move over to that right now.